Hi everybody, let's start going over the actual journaling process for this week. Like when we did 3-13, we're going to start by getting our trial balance ready first. So let's change this to the correct account. So he opens Mendez Appraisals. So I did forget to change that. I'm going to leave the date as it is, just because it's easier for now. This will be correct on your homework. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the accounts from the chart of the accounts, and we're going to list them in the trial balance. So that part is already done for us. So we're just going to go down like we did before. Cash, accounts receivable, let's keep on going. This just makes one less thing we have to do later. And this is the first week we're actually going to get into general ledgers. And so that can take a little bit to get into. So we want to get as much of the easy stuff done as possible. Okay, so now we have all of our accounts listed. Now we can start with actually journalizing accounts and transactions. So it's very similar to what we've been doing in the past. So we're going to put the month and the date. And now here is what we did something similar in 4.2. We're given the transaction. He invested cash in the business of $5,000. Okay, so when we invest cash, we're going to increase our cash account, increase our capital account. Okay, so we have listed our cash and our capital, and then we're going to put in the amount. So it's an increase of $5,000 or a debit to cash and a credit to capital of $5,000. That's all there is to that journal entry. So we're just going to move down to the next one. He paid rent. When we do rent, we're going to skip a line. It's usually easier to read. So we're going to debit our rent expense, or we're going to increase it. This comes back to the information we were doing in Chapter 3 when we were putting them on the T accounts for problem 3-13. This is very similar, except we're putting it in Word form. And then we're going to decrease our cash account. We know it's $500. Go ahead and change these to where it shows as dollars. Okay, the next transaction, we purchased office supplies. So since it does not say on account, we're going to assume that we paid cash. And then we're going to enter the amount. Okay, we're just going to keep on repeating the process. So we purchased office equipment, so we're increasing our assets. And this one says on account, so it's going to be accounts payable. And it is $2,000. Okay, on the 5th, we received cash, so we're increasing our cash. And it was for services rendered, so we're going to credit our revenue account. And in this case, it is appraisal fees. If you scroll back up to the chart of accounts, it tells you our revenue account is appraisal fees in this case. On your homework, on the actual problem you have to do, I believe it is service fees. So then we're going to put in the $280. Okay, and we're just going to keep on going. We paid our telephone bill, so that would be a telephone expense. And just like when you pay your cell phone bill or your telephone bill or your cable bill, it's coming out of your cash. So $38. On the 9th, we paid our electric bill. So in this account, in this problem, it is electricity expense. In your homework, I believe it is utilities expense, so it's the exact same thing. Again, we're going to decrease our cash account. Okay, and then we received cash for services. So again, we're going to do cash and appraisal fees. And that's $310. When we pay our employee, it is going to be wages expense. And then again, it's going to be cash. So that's $500. Now we have a rental car. So if you go back up and look, the only expense that we have that fits it would be the transportation expense. So that is the account we're going to use. Whenever you're in doubt, always look at your chart of accounts because it's going to help figure out where something needs to go. So transportation expense is $200. Now we have a newspaper ad, and we have advertising expense. And then again, it's cash, $30. At this point, even though the homework gives you the reference, I am not as worried about you filling in that column. This would be the account number. So for cash, it's 101. For capital, it's usually 501. Again, that information would be up here. It looks like for this problem, capital is 311. So again, I'm not as worried about you filling out the post-reference part as I am about whether or not you can get the accounts and the amounts in the correct locations. That is what I'm really focusing on this week, because this is the information that you're going to have to know to do the midterm project successfully. So now we're going to enter the month again, since we're starting a new page. Enter the date, which is the 18th. Again, we received cash, and then we have appraisal fees. And that was $620. Okay, so that's all the transactions on this first page. So let's go to the next page. And there's some more transactions. It usually goes pretty quickly. And then sometimes in your transactions, you will see accounts listed in parentheses. At this stage, it's just trying to make your work a little bit easier. It's telling you what account you actually need to use. So on the 19th, we paid mileage reimbursement for part-time employees' use of personal car. So it's going to be for transportation expense. And then since we're paying them money, it's going to be cash. So that's $22. Let's see, after the 19th, we have the 21st. The owner withdrew money. So the owner is increasing their withdrawing. So we're going to do Benito Mendez and drawing. And then it's going to be cash. It's like, this is similar to him using the ATM. He's going to the ATM and getting cash out for himself. So on the 23rd, We're making a payment on our office equipment that we purchased on the 4th. So we need to debit our accounts payable to show that we're decreasing how much we still owe another company. And then we're going to decrease our cash account. So that's $200. On the 24th, we earned an appraisal fee, which will be paid in a week. So since it does not say we received cash, we're going to assume in this case that it was accounts receivable. Our customer has promised to pay us in a week. Okay, and that was $500. On the 26th, we have advertising expense. We paid for another ad. So again, it's going to be advertising expense in cash. That's $30. On the 27th, it's telling us that we're going to be using a miscellaneous expense account. So you can, if you need to, abbreviate. That is fine with me. And then how much was that? That was $15. Make sure that you do put them in the correct area. When you are doing journal entries, you need to list the debit part of the transaction first. As you see, I have all of the debits listed first for each transaction. On this assignment, I will not count it wrong if you do flip it, but be prepared come the midterm project, come the comprehensive problems. If it's not listed correctly, it will be counted wrong. So this is a great chance to get into the habit of doing it correctly. So on the 28th, we paid our employee. So that is wages expense. And again, it's going to be cash. It's $500. On the 29th, we received cash. So we're going to increase our cash. And this is part of what our customers owed us. So it's going to be accounts receivable. And it's $200, and it looks like, let's see, received cash on account, $250. Go. On the 30th, we received cash for services rendered. So that's going to be appraisal fees again of $280. And then the last transaction we have is on the 31st. It's telling us that there is a transportation expense. And then again, it's going to be cash, and it's going to be $13. Okay, so that is all there is to doing the journal. I know it looks scary, but if you ever have any questions or need me to look over something, let me know. I'm going to stop this video here before we go on to the ledgers.